to an episode of Getting Random with Z.Singleton. Today I have with me Miyoshi Barnes
Hi.
from the LBC.
Yes.
Hey, I ride with her.
Yes.
Okay, let me stop. But rest in peace, Nate Dogg. So
Right.
she is a fashion designer and an
Yes.
interior designer, and
Yes.
just so much a slew of more things that I know we're going to talk about. So
Yes.
today Miyoshi is going to be giving us her origin story. Yeah,
Yes.
y'all, I ain't did an origin story in a minute, and I
Mm.
think it's about time. Matter of fact, you may see the next 3, 4 last episodes be about origins because I'm all about them. It's about the strength.
Yes.
It Everything we go through
Yes.
brings a strength if we allow it to.
Yes, it
And
does.
today you're gonna give us that story to
Oh, for
let us
sure.
show. And y'all,
Yes.
had a complete moment before the taping of this, and it just, already I can say I appreciate your soul, your spirit, your belief,
Thank
your faith.
you. Thank
You
you.
know, God shines in you, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I do appreciate you. Um,
Give him glory. Thank you.
yes, yes, all day long. That's what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
though. We're supposed to
Yeah.
shine that light on other individuals
Visuals. Yeah.
all the time.
Yes.
Um, so, Miyoshi Barnes,
hmm
who are you?
Who am I? That's a real good question. You know, it's so funny with that. Since speaking of origin, my grandmother, God rest her soul, asked me that one day. She said, "Who are you?" I was 15. You know, teenagers, we think we know everything.
Right,
"Oh, I'm Miyoshi and Barnes and blah." She said, "That's not what I asked you."
right.
She said, "Who are you?"
People don't understand
And I
that
said,
question is so deep.
"But I'm Miyoshi Barnes." She said, "No, ma'am."
Hmm.
And I went, hmm. And you know, young people, we think we know everything, right?
Hmm.
So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I didn't say it out loud though, because she's from the South. She's wrong, but no, she wasn't. And it was funny because I didn't get it till after she had passed.
Mm.
And I said, "God, Grandmere, I get it. Who am I?
Right.
I am the woman that has been cut from the cloth of our Creator, Maker God, the
Amen.
Creator of all things,
Mm-hmm.
who has allowed me to be created."
Mm-hmm.
So when He pulled me from Himself, formally, fearfully, wonderfully made, He placed me in my mother's womb. And here's where I was, placed in Long Beach, California, born in Compton, California, Dominguez Valley Hospital, which is no longer there.
Hey,
Yes.
okay.
And then grew up in Long Beach. Um, Love the beach. I'm a ball of sunshine. I'm an encourager. I'm definitely unique and different, as you can see.
Yes.
Um, Mother of wisdom, but I've had to go through a lot of hell to get it. Right.
But that's where the wisdom comes from.
Yes. See, we remember the mothers of old, the aunties of old, and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what held us together. I came from that community in Long Beach where we had community.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents was working, right?
Everybody around
Everybody,
knew what was going on,
and
where you were,
I,
how you were doing.
yes, and I would cut up and I get snatched. Now I don't know about y'all out there. That's abuse. No, that wasn't abuse. Okay, honey. You know, I was wilding out a little bit. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then my mom would find out. So those of you that know, you know. Um, but I appreciate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was creating the threads in my cloth, right? See, a lot of times we think fashion is this, but fashion is more than just that. Even
Mm-hmm.
our bodies is fashioned. When you think of nerves and you think of blood and everything, it's almost like a type of weaving of threads,
Right.
material, substance to make who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have spirits that need to be housed. So, technically speaking, the outer shelf is a form of fashion.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
we're being fashioned into. The question is, what are you being fashioned into? And do you know why and what for? And so,
I
if
don't think many people do know though,
no,
and that's the part where, like I always talk about, be still for a while and
yes,
really just try to figure you out.
yes,
I think a lot of people don't want to, and so they jump from situation to situation, drama to drama, and they don't take that time out, and that's where they end up in confusion, or they end up in a situation that they think they want to be in, but
Right.
it may not be where they're so really supposed to be.
No.
Of course, they call that trauma bonding and other names too.
Yes.
But
Insanity. Yeah. um, but yeah, it's so true. Um, we left Long Beach when I was in elementary school. I had in my mind, like a lot of people I'm sure do, I was going to graduate from Cal Poly Long Beach, and I was going to attend the top, HBCU, and I was going to
right.
become a soror, Shout out to the little Divine Nine out there, I know some Delta sisters and stuff. And so my mind had it all planned out what I was going to
Yeah,
do.
what life was going to be like.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I did not know that God was laughing at my plans. And to be honest, I didn't even have a relationship with him because I didn't know him like that.
Right.
I wasn't raised like that. So,
How were you raised?
ooh, Pandora's box.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah. If you do, you really want to open it?
Oh, I open it.
Look-
So,
open it, girl. Open it.
Pandora's box is never to slam my parents, right?
Mhm.
We all have to learn how to do the work.
Mhm.
And to those that understand, I'm a Generation Xer. Those that understand, our parents before us was not allowed to express their traumas. They came from a
true.
place with their grandparents where they grew up in slavery, where they were not allowed to express, and if they did, they got killed, they got hung, they was raped, they was molested. It was just a lot going on.
Mhm.
So trauma has ensued for years, right?
Right. Yes.
And unfortunately, their cut of their cloth is so different now. And sometimes you don't even recognize the father in them. So I didn't understand the journey that I was going to be on. I started off in SEAL preschool, but eventually winded up in St. Catholic Church in Long Beach.
Oh, you into doing the same thing? I went to
Yes.
Catholic school too, but
Yeah.
this is your origin story, so I'm gonna stop.
Yeah,
bothering
no,
you.
but that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
No, but I understand. But we understand each other,
Yes,
right?
oh
And a
yes,
lot of people don't
completely
understand
the private school,
And
Catholic schools,
yes.
and all that
And
before.
people look at
Yeah.
us. This is our origin, right?
Yeah.
But other races outside of black wouldn't even understand it. But this is what we've gone through, y'all. We have attended the Catholic Church, and my mom's still Catholic, but I'm not.
We weren't.
No.
We weren't at all. We
Mm.
weren't Catholic at all. And
No.
I remember when I was like, I want to become Catholic, and the hell you not. You got me learn all these different prayers,
Yes.
kneeling, standing,
Girl. It was a workout.
crossings and stuff,
Right.
and then you gonna tell me what I can't be.
Yes.
But it's okay now. As an adult, you
Yes.
understand where
Yeah.
individuals are, where our parents come from.
Yeah.
But back to that, you were in Catholic school.
I was in Catholic school, and my mom said the reason why she pulled me out is because I came home speaking fluent Spanish.
What?
Yes. So, kids, we soak up everything.
Right.
And so I ended up at Burnett Elementary School in Long Beach. So that's how I ended up in just regular schooling. And most
That-
people don't know that.
That's amazing to
Yes.
hear you actually say, because you were speaking fluent Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
she took you out.
'Cause
Because
it's-
my grandfather was completely opposite. It
Wow.
was find a Hispanic friend
Mm-hmm.
and learn how to speak Spanish.
Wow.
Like, learn it now.
Right.
And it's so crazy because I'm sure my grandfather and your mom weren't probably too far in age, or
Mhm.
maybe so. Who knows? He was kind of gray in the head.
Right.
No, he was full gray in the head,
Right.
balding. Anyway, but I would always be like, no. I'ma hang with my blood friends. I ain't got time for that. But I grew up in South Central LA.
Yes.
So at that time, that we were like very multiple.
Yes.
That's probably not anyway, but yeah, we were. There was a lot of us, so
Yes.
it was like okay, and there was probably like a few Hispanic kids around and everything,
Right.
but they all kind of stuck together. So it was kind of
Yes.
like, how you want this to happen? I don't know what you're talking about. You keep putting me at black schools, so that's all I really know. But now I get it again because you look, a lot of jobs, a lot of just
Yes.
everything surrounding is speak Spanish. Learn, be fluent in Spanish. You need to know how to write it. You need to know how to speak it.
Right.
We as Generation X are teaching our children, hey, you need to have double languages in your
Right.
life. You need to have multiple if you can,
Right.
because and it doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't.
So my grandfather was ahead of his time
Yes.
in the way he tried to teach me, but
Right.
I was very okay. Yeah, I'm stubborn. I,
Right.
I was stubborn I started at a young age of being stubborn,
Right.
and it just kind of continued. I think I got it from my grandma.
Yes.
Just like, no, this is what it
Right.
is. But back to your story again.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, but
It is
it's
supposed to be
amazing because we're from different walks of life, right?
right.
In the same vicinity of Long Beach, LA, but you'll find similarities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the similarities in making clothes. The similarity is you need threads to keep the clothing together.
Yes.
The similarities is you need a needle and thread. You need the patience to make the clothes. People don't understand that.
Yes, you do.
So as you're going through life and life is weaving, right,
Mm-hmm.
your life, if you allow it. Now you can go against the grain. You can sit there and be made and fashioned into something, but the question is, what are you being made and fashioned into?
Right.
And let me tell y'all something. When you have to sit there and you have an outfit like this and you gotta unpop them threads, that's work. Our life is like that when we've created something, when we've weaved into something that we shouldn't, and then we gotta sit there and pop. That takes time. But a lot of times y'all wanna sit there and throw it away. You can't throw yourself away and not do the work.
Right.
And so here I was, Pandora's box, had the wealth, had the money in our home, had the best. The fights, the physical fights, the matching yourself up to somebody that doesn't equate to who you are.
Mm.
And like I said, it's no slander to my mom. It's no slander to the man that she married, but this was reality. And feeling like I was the only one that was going through this at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand my gifts and my talents during this season either.
Mm-hmm.
I started sewing at the age of 9,
Okay.
weaving. We come from a long line. My mom was drawings was amazing.
Wow.
She did hair. She would do the basket weaves with the gold leaves and the wood beads and everything. And so my mom was a cosmetologist.
Right. Did she do
And
the fashion shows?
She okay. So let me tell you what happened. So she actually did the fashion. She can look at you and sew something, and put it together. That's how gifted she is. And so one year Long Beach Mall was having a like fashion show thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what it was one of the stores and their job. This was like 80s. So this is like way before what you've seen on the TV shows now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they gave everybody like an outfit to take, the shoes and the outfit. And so I remember her getting this like gray sweater outfit. I don't know if it was 2 piece or 1 piece. And she had a hat and she had these gray boots. And so they was like, take it home and recreate it
Mm.
and make it what you want. And whoever wins gets the prize.
Wow.
So I remember my mom had these bad, and they were like suede gray boots. And she put the pink beading on the top and around the edges and everything. And she weaved it into her outfit and the hat with the feather, the fedora and everything.
Mm.
She won it. What can I say?
Congratulations, Mom.
Yes.
So you basically got your talents from your
Yes.
mom
Yes.
side, and she knew what she was doing. She was a hairdresser.
Mm-hmm.
She was a cosmetologist.
She was also the
designer.
Princess House Queen, the PTA Queen, and then she also was the Tupperware Queen. She can put a party on like nobody's business.
Won't they do it?
Yes,
I'm
every
telling you.
time. And then coming from Louisiana, we party. So almost every weekend we would have a gumbo party, girl.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
The good stuff.
So how do you function just with like abuse in the home and the yelling and the fighting at that age?
I would escape.
Yes.
We don't talk about this.
People escape now as adults, and I think
Yes.
because we escape as children,
Yeah.
it becomes a part of our norm. Like
It
that's our
does.
baseline. Like let me escape, let me avoid, instead of actually dealing with what is being presented in front of me.
Yeah. I had a pretend friend.
Oh, you too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a make believe friend. Don't ask me who, what, why. I don't remember, okay? But I
Right.
do remember, and now we having this conversation. I do remember that. And that is what kept me going.
Mhm.
Or this imaginary world where I can just escape.
Mm.
But it got to a point where I had to go, hitting my 40s. You have the responsibility to change your life. Past the fear, past the trauma, past the trauma, past the, like I said, it's no pun intended, but we don't want to talk about this. We have to. Past the fact, if your parents do not change, will you change?
Mm.
And it's not sometimes what I've learned with my parents is not because they don't want to, they're afraid. The fear will lock them up, the paralyzation in the spirit. And how many of our parents, grandparents have passed away like that? Right?
Many, yes.
And it's us, the Gen Xers, and then we're dealing with the younger generation, our kids and stuff, and they're just all about, we're talking about our trauma. Let's talk about it now, right?
Right.
And they're free.
Right.
And we're trying to gain that balance. We're teetering.
Right, which is interesting because they had to learn it from somewhere. It wasn't
Right.
like they just they were born. They were like, oh, let me
Yes.
talk about everything. No, it came from us and
It did.
saying, you know what, speak about what's happening. What you say, what's happening to you. I want to hear you. I don't want
Right.
to shut you up
Right.
and say, oh, you know, this is for grown people. You stay your butt over there.
Mhm.
That's not what we're saying with
Right.
Gen Z. However, some way it's so crazy because the reality of it too is that we can always try to help somebody else, but we're not always willing to help ourselves. Or we're not, it's not that we're not willing to help ourselves, but we're not willing to deal
Yeah.
with it. And that's where the escaping and the avoidance comes in. And that's where it comes to helping other people in what they're going through, that we
Mhm.
pretty much
Oh yeah.
get Gen Z of how they are, and then how Gen X, we still
I know.
we still struggling like it's a thing to do.
It is, and it's so crazy, but right, we're struggling because we also don't have safe spaces. We're getting them. But how many of us can still sit there and feel like, depending on the demographics where you're at, depending on what's available in an area,
Mm-hmm.
is there a safe space enough to sit there and go, can I start unpacking?
You can't unpack with everybody.
No, you can't.
And even those who want you to and be like,
Mhm.
you can give me that space.
Mhm.
There's always that thing called discernment, and you can always
Yes.
feel when, no, this isn't the person I should be talking to
Right.
about this stuff.
Right.
Um, a little thing, I don't know how we done went from origin to talk about
Well,
safe
no,
spaces,
but
but we're all
origin is
coming
safe
back.
spaces, right? But this still deals with when you're making a garment, right?
Right, which I love how you're intertwining the two and how it is such a clear picture.
Because let me tell you something, when you're making an outfit, y'all,
Mm-hmm.
um, what you draw out and what you envision in the start of the process, it don't look like that. And I can tell you how many times in the midst of the start of the process of making the outfit
Mm-hmm.
and halfway through it, I want to quit because it don't look like what I want it to look like.
Right, right.
It's the same thing with our life.
Man.
See, this is the reason why people don't want to go through the process, because it's ugly. And the vision is wonderful.
It's
the
too
mood
hard.
boards, right? The mood
Yeah.
boards are wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to go through the process for that mood board?
And that's the part. A lot of people don't.
No.
They back up because,
Right.
oh, I didn't think that it would be so hard. I didn't think this was going to happen. So I was listening to what are they called? All of a sudden, I don't even know what they're called. Look at where you basically, scrolling through, but somebody actually sent it to me,
Right.
and it was what are those things
Inspirations
called?
or something?
It was he was talking about, let's just talk
Right.
about what he was talking about,
Right,
because I
right.
don't know why my
That's
brain is
right.
like, I don't want to tell you what it is.
Yeah, right.
But
It happens.
but basically he was saying the thing about it is that God gives you the vision.
Yes.
He shows you exactly what it is, where you're supposed to be.
Right.
But what he doesn't give you is all the struggle that comes in there in between it.
Right.
Because if he did, would you want to do it?
No.
That's the part.
I asked God, this was 2022. I was driving, no lie. I was driving home from work. I looked up in the sky, gorgeous day. And it just popped in my head, and I said, why you didn't tell me, God, what my son was going to go through? The middle son. And he said, if I'd have told you, would you have let me take him through the process? No. I mean, I answered it so quick, and I was like, oh, and he was like, and that's why.
Right. That's the
Now
part.
God talks to me audibly, so I was like, I said, I know, but not your will. Not his will. I was like, I know, God, not my will, but your will be done. And you got him. And this is how I am in the car, y'all. Like, and I'm intertwining this with the fashion because we go, oh, this is pretty. The
Mm-hmm.
process is not never pretty.
Mm. Oh, it's not.
We can go, hey y'all, hey, this is perfect. Hey, no, it's not. I don't know who. Let me tell y'all something. There are moments where my grace is not sufficient for me and not nobody else. That's why I'm
Right.
glad our Father, Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ paid it the price for us. That process, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to bail out. Geronimo, I'm jumping ship.
Right.
Throw me over. I don't care. I don't walk away from God. Like in my head, like I'm not doing that. I don't want to face myself. We were not dealing with that.
Man.
But I need you. You want to be that fine cloth. I need you to deal with this because right now you're like rags, and you want to go to riches. But you can't go to rags and riches in the cloth because you're still holding on to the
That
no
part.
right.
Yeah.
So, and people don't understand also, after a while, if you're not careful with your threads, they can dry rot. So you can't use them no more. They snap when you use them because everything has a life to it. It's a life force in everything. Think about, I've heard people sit to say when they don't use certain dishes, it turns brittle and falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a purpose.
Mm.
So, even the outfit that I made, everything has a purpose. It met the purpose today. But the process I had to go through to get this purpose done was horrific and hellish. And it's been crazy. And I didn't know if I was going to have it at one point. And there's so much with it. So, process. I can sit there and say this. We can never go back and change what we hear it all the time. And I had to stop saying it because it felt like a torment. If only I can go back and change it. You know you can't, so stop tormenting yourself.
Right.
So this is what I did sit there and say. It was good that I was afflicted. The scripture is real. It was good that I was afflicted. Because now I understand him in the fellowship of my sufferings as well as his. But now I can also tell the story to his glory. Because we are evidence of that.
So I have a question for you. Did your parents ever divorce, or they did divorce?
Yeah, they divorced when I was very young. So
okay.
yeah.
And from there, what kind of happened as far as just life? I know because divorce isn't easy.
Divorce is never easy. I've gone through it, so I know.
Well, and I just, I know a lot of people that have gone through or that are going through it right now with young children
Yes.
and also even young adults, and they are finding it hard.
Right.
I think in the process. So how did you do with it?
Wow. There was something that I had learned in the process of me going through my minds and versus what I went through with my parents, because I think I was either 2 or 3 years old when they divorced. There was nothing to be really said, but I don't remember anything in that season either. It's kind of a blur. But when I went through mines, what I did was I called my kids to the front of the house. It was almost tumultuous, the ending of it. And the first thing I had to tell my kids was, it is not your fault. I said, you are children. You can't make us divorce. I cannot tell you how many times somehow or another kids think that they are the reason why their parents are divorced. And I told my kids, I said, you don't have that kind of power. Not to knock my kids, but I'm just saying, we're adults.
Right.
You're children. You can't even, no, babies. So I need you to go to bed and get ready for school tomorrow. It was in that moment that I had to sit there and say, the generational curse stops here. Right? In the midst of that, I was supposed to be starting my fashion business, but I was so broken I couldn't. I was on and off. I was teetering, totting. Because when whirlwinds of life take over, right? When we get distracted, the smoke screens go up, we feel like life is just totally, completely just crumbled and it can never be better. Especially when you feel like a failure.
So, do you feel that when your history from like seeing your mom and dad, and then do you feel that that went into your marriage, or that's you in the that
Ooh.
opened the doors for you to actually meet somebody who was more like your dad, or
More like the stepdad that I grew up with. So people
mm-hmm.
don't want to really talk about generational curses and we have the saying, as you probably heard, same devil, different face.
Yes.
So people gotta understand that spirits travel. And when you talk about demonic warfare, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't break that generational curse, it skips and it goes to the next generation and it goes and visits the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to sit there and deal with it.
Right.
So, because I didn't have a relationship with God, I just got saved out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
But just because I was saved, it didn't mean I was delivered.
Did that?
See, people don't understand. You could be saved and not be delivered.
Right.
So, you're still attracting
Mm-hmm.
what you do or don't want.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yes.
Can you explain that just a little bit, just as when you say when you're saved and not delivered, and when you're
So, I want this, right? I don't want this. My fear, what I learned was, in not being delivered, was the very thing that I didn't want because I gave so much energy every day. Oh my God, oh my God, I don't want this. Oh my God, I don't want this. I didn't realize it was coming to me though because I was giving so much energy to it versus the thing that I want. And so when you're not delivered, the very thing that God has for you or that you want, because you desire what He wants for you, which is the best. This will go further away, and you'll embrace this and be trying to figure out how come. How come I still got, but I'm saved. I'm saved. I know God. You do. But now you need to go to war. Now you need to bring down the walls of Jericho.
mm,
Now you got to sit there and deal with the children of Israel in the promised land. Now you got to deal with the giants. So that meant that I had to sit there and go through the process. You saved. That's the easy part. But that anointing, that's going to cost you now. Where I got to take you, it's going to cost you. And so now this and this becomes a battle. I'm saved. I want to be delivered. I want what I want. So that means I got to figure out how to get rid of what I don't want and need that's been destroying me. Because you can sit here, this is the want. This is the part that you need to be delivered from. And until you get emptied out, it's going to stay there. You notice how that's emptying out?
mm-hmm.
And as that transfer is happening, right, this is your process. Look how small that process is.
Yeah, it's a slow process.
You see how that squeezes?
It's the patience too.
Hmm.
That's the part, is that we all lack patience.
The Bible says broad is the way to what? Destruction. But narrow is the way to life. How many people want to go through this? You see how lonely that looks? All your friends is here. Everything you know is here. You got this wide space for all this room. But in order to get to your destiny, which is on this side, look at how you got to be squeezed to get through. And everybody can't go through with you. And the sins is being removed. And the old habits that you know you're supposed to be letting go of. And I told you don't go over there on 4th Street. You go over on 4th Street, you're going to get shot. And how many times people sit there and say, God, it was your fault. You heard that voice.
Or
you felt that
told
thing.
you don't go.
You knew that yellow, red flag. Yeah.
So how did you get past and get to where, because I know that you were trying to work on your business and divorce, and knowing that it was, the generational curses that exist. How did you get to where you need to be?
Pandora's box being fashioned, right? And we love boxes. Let's go back to Pandora's box. Pandora's box, and it's something because that's something that came out of my soul when I was in middle school. I'm in Pandora's box. And I remember watching a show where the person, I think it was a kid, they opened up the box and all these demon looking things was coming out the box, and spirits and demonic and shadows and everything like that. And that's what Pandora's box was.
Mm-hmm.
So here I was being fashioned in the midst of all that hell and didn't know it. Somebody very special to me sat there and said a long time ago, some years ago, King David became king in the cave,
Mm-hmm.
not in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saul's men became his men in the cave.
Right.
And I went, ooh. So here I was going, I became who I became in the cave, in the turmoil, with a once used to be friendly situation that now is coming after me to take my life and snuff it out. So in order for me to become the woman, and I'm still being made and fashioned right
Mm-hmm.
into where I'm at, to where I can do what I want to do, and I do what I want to do, and He's allowing me freedom now. I had to go through all that. I had to go through the rejection, the abandonment, watching what my parents was going through, the stepdad. I had to sit there and go through the rejection. Here's the real deal: the rejection from the parents affecting the rejection in my relationships, friendships,
Mm.
because that spirit is going, oh, well, good. I'm gonna stand in the corner. Y'all not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna deal with it.
Right.
And I'm growing stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just transfer her, and I'm gonna jump over here to him. That's why they can vibe together and not see what's wrong with the offense. Right.
And when we say they, who are we speaking of?
Basically, people that was in my life that was like, I was very naive growing up. So let's deal with the origin of the cloth. I was a naive piece of cloth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was so, oh, I'm nice and I'm friendly and I'm encouraging. I want to be friends with everybody. I need to get along with everybody. I see the good in everybody. And not realizing that there was wolves in sheep clothing that could look at me and go, let me go ahead and take her for what she got. I was bullied on the early onset in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
I was picked on, not because I realized what I wasn't doing, but because it was what I was doing.
Right.
There was a season where I became student of the month twice in my elementary school.
Oh, you was hated on.
Oh, and I didn't know that. I had these friends that I thought were my friends. And then what Long Beach newspaper did at the time is they would take your picture and put it in the front page of the newspaper.
Oh, and so you had, okay, so yeah,
Whoa.
they was not liking that
No.
at all.
So they was like, I've been called teacher's pet and all this. And so, and then I could sing, girl. So there was a situation one day where our class was preparing for a play.
Uh-huh.
And it was like 3-4 classes. And we're all in this class. Oh, I forgot to mention I had skipped a grade.
So you were smart, talented, and a sweetheart.
Yeah.
In Long Beach.
Yes.
In the 80s, right?
70s, 80s.
70s, 80s.
And, oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. For those that know, they know. And I feel like we're going to have more segments. I would love to come back and we dive on it.
Talk about that 70s, 80s.
Yes. And so here I was. There's this part. I'm going to talk about it. I'm standing in line on the lunch line. People understood there was lines that they had. You stood in line for waiting for lunch to be called. Mm-hmm. And I had a nasty migraine because of the taunting I was going through. At one point where I thought I had friends, I was like, look, I made student of the month. And, oh, she thinks she better than us. And pss, 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 and all this.
Right.
And I did not understand what was going on because my mom was not about that. My mom was about getting education and learning how to cursive writing and everything like that. And I didn't understand what was going on.
I don't know if people understand how hard it is. I mean, a lot of us do. Mm-hmm. Just with the bullying and the people just being mean for just no apparent reason. But you made it through that part.
Yeah. And I had to go through that part. So that was that weaving of the fabric.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want that. Oh, gosh. I did not want that. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, Lord, why am I going through this, right? Mm-hmm. Why am I going through the cloth going through the machine and the needles jamming and the thread is popping and oh my gosh, I done ruined the outfit and I gotta take it loose and start all over again or try to get something out or I gotta cancel order, I gotta cancel my plans or I gotta cancel this or I'm being canceled. Mm-hmm. Life is like fashion. You're being fashioned every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so from all that, looking back, I realized it was good that I was afflicted. I love my parents. I forgive my parents. My mom did a wonderful job and the best that she could
Right.
in raising us, doing what she could. Right.
Mhm.
I understand that me being fashioned to being the woman of God that God has called me to be, you can't expect a God to bless you and you still holding on to the old rags, the unforgiveness that you did this and I don't understand it, blah, blah, blah. But you're supposed to have wisdom now.
Right. I think that's the part that people don't. Yeah, you don't get that. Like, if you have to let go, and I know, like, sometimes it doesn't always come out nice, that the way people say things.
The process.
Yeah, people don't always say things the nicest.
Yeah.
And they'll say, you 40 years old. Why are you still holding on to something that your mama and daddy did? And it's like, you know what? That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is it,
but it's deeper.
But it's deeper than that.
Yes.
And the reality is that as much as we may have the same hands, the eyes, the whatever it may be,
right,
we are different.
Yes.
How we deal with things is different.
Yes.
And it's a lot of people don't want to deal. That's why a lot of people want to deal with the same individuals that they're like, because they don't want to take the time and actually learn how to be different with different people.
Right.
Understand them. I mean, you can be, I think there's a way of being assertive.
Yes.
And
not be nasty.
With it. Yeah. And understanding, and this is where understanding mental health, understanding trauma, understanding that, like I said, we're all different levels, and how to respectfully engage that situation, and tell a person, hey, how can we get past this?
Right.
Because you're worth so much more.
Yes.
You have so much more life.
Yes.
And even when your parents are gone, you're still going to be here. What are you going to do?
Yes.
How can you make a person think?
Right.
For what they need to do?
Yeah. And so the origin, right?
I don't know why I love to do that.
I know it's okay. The origin in creating, right? Creating the life you want, creating the outfit, creating the origin. When you understand why, and sometimes when we create, we're by ourselves creating. That isolation. When designers are isolating, they're isolating by themselves a lot of times. They got to brainstorm. Are you brainstorming in your life? We all have to go through an isolation period, whether we want to or not. Multiple times. Right? Because Father God is gracious enough not to let all of our stuff be exposed to everybody in the process of being made and fashioned into that which we desire to be, if we allow ourselves to go through the process. I didn't realize that every single thing that I went through in my life was to sit there and prepare me on dealing with different people from walks of life, fashioning, being able to create, to make, to be able to sit there, and I'm a natural healer as well. And fashion, it for me, is more than just making clothes. It's being able to fashion the home, fashion the heart, fashion the spirit, fashion the soul, and finding out what we can do to tailor make it according to you. Where there's peace, where there's love, where there's joy. And understand, you're going to learn with me. It's a process. Oh, you may not like it. I may not like it.
Right.
But if there's no growth, if you don't understand, if you don't take the time, you'll never achieve the outfit that you want.
I love that.
We are spiritual beings having a temporary experience in these fleshly bodies, fleshly costumes. How are you being fashioned? How are you being made? And if I was next to you, I hear the song, you wear it well. You wear it well, you wear it well. You wear it. That's like 70s, 80s. You look, y'all, that was like back in the day. We love that song, so check it out. But really, do you wear it well? And if you need to make some adjustments, make the adjustments.
What was your aha moment?
Aha moment. Hold on, y'all, I need some water. That's a good one. My aha moment has been through my processes. I don't know if it was when they told me I had cancer. More so when I was at my lowest in my life and realizing that your fear is causing you not to live the life that you want. So yeah. Oh, excuse me.
So,
So that's it's been layers,
mm-hmm.
but I will sit there and say probably the past 7 8 years, and I'll be 49 this year, Lord willing, in my 40s.
Hey, there is no there. I feel like long as you have that aha moment, and no one
Yes,
can tell you when that aha moment will
never.
be, and it's okay.
Yeah, it is. It
So
is.
it could be at 40 or 41.
Mm-hmm.
And, the blessing is that you're still here with us, that you
Smile
beat
on my
cancer
face.
with a smile on your face.
Because you asked me, who am I? The smile, not fake.
Mm-hmm.
Cause baby, I'll cry at the drop of a dime. I have a fit with the Father like a big kid,
Right.
but He gives me strength enough to wake up in the morning, and I give Him thanks and praise for me and my family, friends, and loved ones. And He endows in me who He is, and I understand the assignment. And the first assignment is, Miyoshi, I created you to be an encourager. Wear that smile.
Right.
And then I process. Whatever it is that God wants me to be poured out and be used as, that's what we do.
But we first got to hear it.
That's right.
So, I don't know. This was like a inspirational origin, let's talk about it, let's feel it moment.
Mm-hmm.
I probably shouldn't even give him the name origin, but I did. It's okay. So we are now going to be at the part of where we're gonna do random. It's
Yes.
gonna be short, not too long, but we're gonna get through because I can't, can't be on the show without doing random.
Right.
So basically, what we do is we shake up this jar
Mm-hmm.
and
Ooh,
I'm
this is
allow
gonna
you.
be interesting, y'all. Ooh, random. Oh, people and their demons.
How about that one right there? How about that? Get it, get it. Them. What you said? The Pandora box.
Ooh, people and their demons.
Can I start?
Sure.
Okay. So I do inspiration on Monday, Friday, and
Ooh,
it's very short and
okay.
simple. And it's also my introduction to the next podcast
Nice.
episode. And that is actually one that I've been wanting to bring up
Ooh,
is people and their demons. I think sometimes what happens is that we try to fix people, fix ourselves through people, and it's like, oh well, you know, I have a problem with drinking. So, and I notice you have a problem with drinking. So you drink a lot. So
right.
you should probably work on that. I forget we can't tap the table because y'all can hear that,
Right.
but you should probably work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoa, hold up.
Right.
Is that your demon or is that my demon? Whose
Right.
demon is it?
Right.
Cause then it becomes a whole big old thing, and then when
Yes.
I'm like, no, walk away from me
Right.
on this one,
Right.
cause I know where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to work on you.
Right.
And I don't get me wrong, I think that's a part of the friendship. We're supposed to encourage each other,
Yes.
but we don't. You don't throw it down nobody's throat.
Mm-mm.
Don't
Mm-mm.
throw it down there, cause then that's when it's like again, it's your demon.
Right.
You're trying to work out your demon
Yes.
through me,
Yeah.
and that's not gonna work
Mm-mm.
today.
No. No. Cause see, I'm gonna take it real deep now.
Go
Cause
ahead.
see, spiritual warfare is no joke, y'all. And see, we can sit here and play around and teeter totter. This is what I normally tell my friends. My friends tell you this. Now, here's my thing. If y'all can sit there and believe in Casper the Friendly Ghost, why you can't believe in demons? It's the same thing. I ain't never met a friendly demon. When you look at video games that tells you the mind understands, the spiritual realm and demons.
Mm-hmm.
And so when y'all sit there and talk about, I'm dealing with my demons, are you really going through the deliverance? And do you understand that you need, y'all can sit there and say what you want. I'm going to say it for what it is. You need Heavenly Father to help you get delivered. Because you have to understand Satan and his demons, honey, they're strategic. They've already learned who you are. They've learned the generations. They learned your children. They know your every move. They know what you like, what you don't like. And you coming in here, okay, devil. And he looking at you like, I'm a purest angel, but I can't stand you and I hate you. Because you don't have discernment to understand. So for me, people and their demons is I had to start dealing with spiritual warfare. Mm-hmm, and it was funny because God showed me a situation in my life. I have visions as dreams as well, make this short, where my children's father took the kids for me in the dream. And I was walking away from this church that I was involved in. And then all of a sudden I was walking on this plain plateau. And I walked away from what looked like society. And all of a sudden I winded up in this area where it was brimstone. It was straight flat. And all of a sudden I winded up on a giant chessboard. And all of a sudden, all this fire came up. When I looked up, all these kings, divination of kings, emperors, everything was on the chessboard that was in charge. There was no pawns, there was no horses, there was no knights. It was all kings. And they all turned. When I said something, they all turned and they started attacking me. And they were coming from all former dynasties. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And so literally the Holy Spirit gave me exactly what to say because they were all charging me at the same time. And I spoke. And all of a sudden everything turned into dust. They all turned into dust and went away. And when I looked up, the brimstone was gone, the fire was gone, and I was back on natural land. And everything had cleared up. And that place went away. When I woke up, I said, what is that? God said, as you are going through your divorce, as you're going through a level of where your kids was taken away from you. Oh, we're going to talk about that in 2008. Forgiveness, not a problem. There was a reason for it too, and I wasn't well as well, as far as being sick and in and out of hospital and surgeries.
Right.
God was showing me the pretext of what was getting ready to come and what I had to deal with. And he said, if you want your family healthy, you want to be healthy, you're going to have to go through this spiritual warfare. And let me tell you, I went through it. I am now this is some years, I am now in what's called the promised land spiritually. I now see the fruit of what's happening.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to talk about this. I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
When's your book coming out?
You mean when am I going to finish editing the book? The book is done. It's written.
Right.
I need to go ahead and find somebody to edit it. And then it's going to be, it talks about that.
Because, I mean, we're talking about, you have so much. You have, domestic violence in there. You have having cancer, divorce, going through just things with your children and raising them.
Yeah, my back. Jumping out of a car 30 miles per hour. Oh, yes.
Suicide attempts. You and you're still here and you're smiling. Like, that's a lot to say. That's a lot. And like 1 hour and me interrupting or us talking.
Which is fine, no. Because life is like that. It interrupts, doesn't it?
Yeah, life does interrupt. But you also, I don't feel that our folks got your whole origin story because of that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So usually I allow individuals just to talk, and I barely say anything because I really, people need to hear, like,
because that's the origin.
How did you get through every single step that you went through? And I feel that, you brought it up. You said God, and what else kind of just helped you?
People got to understand, what I've learned is when you understand the origin, the root of the problem or the root of the blessing, there's going to be a process to do that, y'all. And all I can sit there and say is that I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. I am who I am today because of what I went through. I'm encouraging y'all with that out there. A lot of times we look at people and we go, "Oh, they ain't never been through anything. We want that, baby." Let me tell you something. I love a good old homemade, southern pound cake that don't have all the frills. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind some box cake, but that box cake don't have that substance like that pound cake.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the process. Your origins, God don't make no mistakes. Remember, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He comes to torment. So that's the reason why you're wondering why you're going through. He don't like you. He hates you. But Father has purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the process of being cut into the cloth that you need to be. We need you. You're valuable. And understand, the greater the pain, I hate to say this, but it's so true. The greater the process, the greater the value. I'm not talking about no fake stuff, I'm talking about real. So this needed to be. Because a lot of times when we do fashion, oh yeah, here we go, it's perfect. No, no, baby, it is no.
Right.
Making the process of this was not perfect. I'd be lying to you if I said it was. Because see, when you're dealing with stretch knit, there's a special needle you need to use on the sewing machine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like that in life. There's a special tool that you need depending on what you're dealing with. Then there's this material. Yeah, it's like an organza see-through. It's got the little Rosetta. It's 3D. So you can't treat this like you treat this.
Right.
But it works together. Process.
What do you do for your self-care?
Oh, gosh. So I love teas, which I'll be bringing her some teas next time. I love my teas. That's part of my business as well. I'm a natural healer, so I have to get back. I normally would do just drinking my teas throughout my day. Mm. The smell of. Buying myself a bouquet of flowers and sitting and having that devotion with God. I love baths. I haven't been able to do baths yet. When I get my place, I have my big bath. But I love baths. It's something about just sitting and cleansing and listening to jazz music. Mm-hmm. So right now, my biggest thing is finding a spot where I can just go and just walk a trail and sit and find a river or something and sit by and process. Self-care. But in the meantime, my self-care tomorrow that I'm going to do is going to be grabbing my teas, having my smoothie, laying down in bed because I know my body's going to be tired after this. Mm-hmm. And just sitting there doing my own nails. I have my own scrubs that I'm coming up with. So hey. I actually found a lot of them that I did make. So they've been sitting and saturating. So they've been taking in the eucalyptus and lavender and everything. Mm-hmm. And so doing the foot scrub and just doing a new facial and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Get back to loving you. Whatever that is.
Yes.
Self-care is the love.
Yes.
And what is yours, by the way? Since
you want to know my self-care?
Yes.
Oh. I don't do so. No, I do this. I'm just so full of it. I do. So I like to exercise. I do exercise. Nice. It's the consistency of it. And you're right that self-care is love, and that's a form of loving yourself. And I haven't been loving myself too much these last 2 weeks. Being able to just listen to music, and it's not even like words to it. It's just complete, like maybe frequencies or just someone chanting, like just
yes.
I ain't got no singing skills, sorry. and just my friends are really my self-care. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like to have them around and to just talk is just and just catch up is such a good feeling. Mm-hmm. So when a friend is not being that way and it's kind of like, or I don't know, anyway. Yeah, so that's a whole nother episode. Right. Friends, how many of us have them? So Miss Miyoshi,
Missy,
thank you so much for being a part of Getting Random with Z.Singleton today. You were very helpful. You hit some things, and I love how you put fashion and just how your body, your soul is always being
Yeah.
threaded and picked apart and
Yeah.
everything else like that. And just the fact that you just made it through so much. And like I told you before we even came on, you think your life is just the worst, and
Right.
then you find out, no, but this is what I went through, or
Yeah.
this is what, and you, when you see that smile on their face,
Yes.
and that you just know the tenacity, the resilience, just you see it,
Yeah.
and you appreciate it, and it just helps you to continue to go to another day.
Thank you for that. I
So
give God the glory for that all day, every day. What can
yes.
I say? Oh, she gonna make me tear up, y'all. We not trying to do this. And let me share something with you. Look at that process. You get there.
Yeah.
Can I say this right quick? And I know we gotta go.
Yes.
To our men, we understand that you are hurting. We do our self care all the time. But I would love to sit there, and I am going to tear up because of my middle son and what he said, and my youngest. Find a way to do your self care. That is how you love yourself first. When I mention going on a trail and going out, I mean, like, I want to find a trail where I can go scream. Because sometimes it's needed. Take a trusted friend if you can. If not, go on your own. Pack up a snack. Take your backpack. Take your journal. There's nothing wrong with that. Start healing. Start taking care of the fabric of your soul. That includes children. Women, continue. You know we've been doing it. Blessings, everybody.
And that is it. So again, thank you. And
Thank you.
y'all, please subscribe, hit that notification
Yes.
bell. That is not what it sounds like. And definitely every Friday, 12 p.m., Getting Random with Z.Singleton. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And love on yourself. If you got a little bit of love for somebody else, give it to them and stay random.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.